Good morning. Welcome back to Coffee and Colorful Conversation. I apologize for my tardiness today. We had a unexpected power failure in the middle of the night, so I always get everything ready the night before, and because the power went out, everything had to be reset. So I hope I have some people on here live. I hope people didn't jump on and say, "She's not here, I'm out." So here I am for my coffee talk. I hope everyone's having a great Wednesday. It's a beautiful day here. The sun is shining and it's a little cooler, which is most welcome. So I wanted to thank everyone again that came to my boot camp and my master classes. I'm still getting wonderful feedback. We have welcomed 50 new members to the Hair Color Secrets Insider membership, and I am beyond grateful for every single one of you that have joined us. So I always on Tuesday evening, right before bed, which is probably the worst thing ever to do because it gets my mind turning and turning and then I don't fall asleep because I have all these ideas. But I always try to have an idea of what I'm going to talk about on these coffee chats because, as you all know how ADD I am, I need to at least have a topic to keep me somewhat on track. So I had two ideas of what I was going to talk about this morning. And this morning when I woke up, I was still kicking back and forth, which would provide more value to the hairdresser because I'm a life coach, I like to give life information and help people with relationships with their clients. So sometimes that is more fun for me to dive into and exciting just because I've been coloring hair for so long. But I also know that many of you follow me because you want color information. So today is the best of both. I woke up. First thing I do, another bad habit, is find my phone wherever I put it on the charger, pull the charger out, open it up. First I check, excuse me. First I check text messages to make sure that my kids are okay and nothing urgent is waiting for me. That's always first and foremost. And then next, I check my business email, which would be any of my insider members, anything urgent for that, or anything bank related or bills or any of that. I check that first. And when I checked, I have to mute myself and clear my throat. This is awful. I don't even think I can mute myself. Sorry, morning voice. When I checked my work email, there was a voice message. I have on my website a fun tool called SpeakPipe. So when you go on my website, expertcolorsolutions.com, if you ever have a question from one of these coffee chats and you're wondering how to reach me, go to my website and it's like, I think it's sideways on the right side of the website. It says, I think it says reach out or message me or so. I have to look at it. But anyway, you can click on it and you can leave me a voice message, which I love. So I not only get the message, but I can hear the person's voice. I feel like I, got to know them a little bit. So a brand new member that has just joined us, I think 2 days ago in the Insiders, sent a voice text. And it's the first time I've ever been asked this question. So I was like, you know what? Scrap those other two ideas that you were battling back and forth because usually there's a reason. My van is bringing some water. He can't stand listening to me. Thank you. The reason, usually when you're torn between two things and you can't make a decision, it means that there's a third thing coming. That's what I believe anyway. That's usually been the case for me. Like if I'm so torn on, what pillow should I get for the sofa? Should I get the blue or the blue or the orange? And the answer may be yellow. You know what I mean? There's a third answer. So because I couldn't decide what to talk about, I knew something was coming. Something was going to pop into my mind that was more relevant to the hair colors that's watching. So lots of babbling. I'm all just discombobulated because I started late. I'm so routined. So the message was lighting, color appears differently in different lighting. So what do I color the hair for? Indoor lighting or outdoor lighting? And I was like, I stopped and I thought about it and I listened to it again. She said, color appears different in different lighting. Do I color to make her happy basically in indoor lighting, or do I color to make her happy in outdoor lighting? And I was like, perfect topic for the coffee chat. Type into the chat if you have had the frustration that all of us have, where, especially when you're working in a salon and you don't own the salon, you have no control over the atmosphere of the salon, especially the lighting in the salon. So today I have my original camera. It's a Logitech, webcam. I was perfectly happy with it until my son was being sweet and said, Mom, you need a better camera. This is what you do for a living. I'm going to get you an upgraded camera. He got me the upgraded camera. And if you look back on this page to like the last couple coffee chats, everything here is like super bright. Like if I move this, you'll watch me get bright. It'll like get really bright. I'll be like, oh, that's good. And see that? It got bright. And then when I move to sit back down, it gets dark again. It's so infuriating. So the new camera that he bought me, I look really orange. Like my skin looks orange. My hair looks super blown out. My roots look super brassy, which they're not in real life. But on this camera, I look like a brunette at the roots, and I'm not that in person either. So it's super frustrating. And we are in the age of Instagram, Facebook. We want our clients to see our work in its best light, for lack of a better word, no pun intended. We want them to look at it and say, oh my gosh, I want her to do my hair. And we know that when we took that photograph in the salon, it looked one way. And then we even look at our social media on our phone and we're like, wow, that looks totally different than what I saw in front of me, especially if you attended Revival. A great example was Christina is amazing at redheads, and she did a redhead segment that everyone was blown away by and loved her, talking about different things with reds. She did a doll head ahead of time, and when she showed it on the camera, it didn't look red at all. And then she posted in the group a photograph of the doll, and it was like, wow, in your face red. So this is an ongoing frustration for all of us when it comes to photographs. However, when it comes to in the salon, actually when you're doing the color, it's frustrated times 50. How many times have you, I'm looking for a fake mirror here. How many times have you had a client, she's sitting in your chair, and why do clients always go when they're looking at their hair? Do you ever notice the lips go? So they're checking it out and they're like, I don't know. It looks really, really warm to me. Or if you have fluorescent lighting, oh my gosh, it looks so ashy. And you hand them your trusty hand mirror and you step outside. How many times have you stepped outside? There's a little top step right behind the color room that I've spent a lot of time in over the years, showing people what their hair actually looks like when they're not under that French fry light. We have overhead lights that not only made me a menopausal mess, they were roasting me with heat. We had to change all of our lighting because it was so hot. It was like being under the McDonald's French fry light that keeps the McDonald's French fries hot for the next customer. Like it was baking right on top of me, and I would just sweat. I could feel the sweat dripping down my back. I got in the habit of wearing a smock so that you couldn't see how much I was sweating under those lights. And I said to my husband, this has to stop. I am not getting any younger. I'm just going to keep getting sweatier. We need to address these lights. So when the client goes outside and they tilt their head and they go like that, they're like, oh, okay, I love it. We all agree it's perfect. She pays, she leaves. She goes shopping with a friend. She goes into Nordstrom. She goes to the restroom, and now she's freaking out again. I just did it myself. I just had my hair done, and I went into the bathroom. Right after I had my hair done, I went to a furniture store, and I went into their bathroom, and I was like, oh my God, what happened to my hair? It's red. I have bright red roots. And I knew when I sat in the salon, it was fine. I knew in my car, it was fine. I knew outside, it was fine. But in that bathroom, which happened to be right after I had it done, I was freaking out. And I know how to color hair. I know it can be fixed. But I still was like, are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, it's the brand new hair. So now this is going to have to grow all the way out. I'm going to have to deal with that warmth for months and months. Got outside, pulled out my phone, looked at it, got home, looked in the mirror, totally fine. So what can we do about it? And to answer her question, Where do we make her happy? Do we do her color for inside light or do we do her color for outside light? So my answer is quite complicated, especially, like I said in the beginning, if you are working for someone else that won't make the investment and won't make the changes, you're always going to be frustrated. I started out in a very small space in 1989 when I opened my little salon, and the building had been a doctor's office. So you know how fabulously gorgeous you feel in a doctor's office with those white, fluorescent, scary, you feel like you're getting wheeled into the morgue and they're going to zip a bag up over your face dead. It's that white, blue cast light that you're just like, oh my God. It's like the club lights that go on at the end of the night when you're all drunk and sweaty and you're like, please no, until I can leave with this hot guy. So that's not attractive, doctor's office lighting. So I was young. I was broke. I didn't have a lot of money to do my salon. I was so happy there was already lights there that I just kept the fluorescent light fixtures up. They had those stupid frosty, covers for the fluorescent lights, and then the rest of the ceiling. I can't even remember if it was a drop. I don't remember what it was, but the lighting was terrible. So I got more experienced. I was really having some success. I was building a clientele. I was hiring a staff. I felt like I was really more of an official business person. And I was like, the thing that drives me the most crazy is the lighting. So when I remodel and expand, I broke through the wall and I made the salon a little bit bigger. And when I expand it, I did my research because now I could, talk to other salon owners. I had a network of people I could talk to, and I would say, like, what do you do about lighting? It's so bad. And they're like, forget about fluorescent. Like, as long as you have fluorescent, you're never going to be able to get it right. So I started doing research. And mind you, this was before the internet existed. So we did not have the internet to go on and say, lighting specialist, whatever. It was a lot of homework. And I was really proud of myself because it made a huge difference on my career as a colorist. Like, I was starting to specialize in color and I had no idea the impact that this lighting situation was having on my color results. So go down the rabbit hole and I find this lighting place that's like 25 minutes from my house. I'm like 24 years old, no idea, anything about lighting. And talk about the universe having your back. I walk in and there's a million light fixtures hanging. When you go into a lighting store, there's chandeliers and ceiling fans and all the things. And I just happened to walk up to the first person that I saw. His name was Lou. He was sitting at a desk and he just looked like a kind person. And I said, hi, Lou. My name's Elaine. I'm a hair salon owner and I specialize in hair color. And I'm finding that the existing lights in my salon are really impacting my results as a colorist because everything looks super cool when they're in the salon. And then when they leave, it's much warmer. And I'm having a lot of people come back and they want it fixed. And he says, well, I'm not surprised. Fluorescent lighting. And he talked about the whole reason why fluorescent lighting is so harsh. The reason that most offices have it and most doctor's offices and all that is because those bulbs last so long. So if you're in a huge office with, 50 cubicles and 5 floors, that's a lot of light bulb changing. And that's a lot of hiring a little Mr. Fix-It to do that. So rather than do that, they put these long, they last years. I opened my salon in 89 and I think the remodel was like 92 or 93 and I never had to change a bulb until then. Like, it was that long. So I get it. I get why, if you're saying, oh, my owner is so cheap and they won't change the lighting, that's why, because it's a pain in the butt changing bulbs all the time and paying for the bulbs and all of that. So that's that. So I said, can you come to my salon and see the situation? I'm expanding and I'm going into this other room and I don't have the same lighting in both rooms. So I want it to be uniform in both rooms. And I also want everything to be really flattering to my guests. And he said, I don't need to come to your salon. And I said, well, how can you tell me what light I need if you're not there? And he said, you happened to really luck out today when you met me because I did my master's thesis in college. Come on, this guy's in a lighting store. Am I expecting him to have a master's and have been this big, Mr. Thesis? So I was like, okay, go on. He said, I made my thesis the psychological ramifications of lighting in the workplace. I was like, okay, do tell me more. He said, there's proven studies that the lighting in a space has a psychological effect on the people in it. Think about the term people going postal is like the horrible joke about people that work for the post office for 20 years end up going in and shooting up the place because they snap, because it's that repetitive job all day, every day, sorting through mail under fluorescent lights. There's no music playing, there's no atmosphere. It's just like a mundane thing. That's one example. There's a million examples of how your workplace affects you psychologically. So I was like, oh, happy freaking day. This guy is going to change my life, and he's going to help me become the color expert that I, strive to be. So I said, but still, how do you not have to come to the salon? And he said, bring me a rough sketch of the dimensions of the room. How big are your mirrors? How low are they on the wall? So that was more homework for me. I had to go in and measure everything. But he did the lighting there. And when I tell you, that was my first location. That location has been closed for over 20 years. I still to this day say that was the most amazing lighting I've ever seen in a salon. I've been to so many salons between visiting to teach, visiting to get my hair done when I moved, being at friend salons. I've never seen better quality lighting, and I did the most amazing color in that space because of that lighting. And the biggest trick to it was, he said, you don't have to get rid of those fluorescent fixtures. If they're still there and they're not bothering you aesthetically, if it's just the light that's bothering you, I'm going to get you full spectrum bulbs that are fluorescent that are going to go, or maybe they're not fluorescent. I think you can change them to LED. This I don't know, because this is his thing. But there are bulbs that mimic natural sunlight. So to answer the member's question, when I email her later, I'm going to explain to her that we need to make changes to our lighting so that indoor lighting and outdoor lighting are the same. I can't make everything happen on Instagram and social media because that's a camera thing. That's a camera, stand right in front of a natural source of light, like get them in front of your front window, and then you step back. This is all in the membership as well, how to take better pictures on Instagram. You step back and you grab that light that's coming through the window, but they're not in direct sunlight. When you have them standing under sun, it gets blown out and really warm and awful. So you're not going to ever have everybody happy, but the most important thing is that when her hair looks a certain way in the salon, it also looks a certain way outside in her rearview mirror. How many clients do you see? Have you ever had a client forget their umbrella? You're in the salon, she checks out, she leaves, and you're like, oh, wait, Sherry, you forgot your umbrella. You run outside, and she's in her car doing this. She's in the rearview mirror, and she's looking right up close to make sure you got, because she didn't want to do it in front of you, right? And she may have, which is also common for our clients, she may have stopped at the restroom on her way out, did not love what she saw in the restroom because it's cooler lighting in the restroom, and was a little bit freaked out and was like, let me check my mirror in my car before I leave, because I feel like if I leave, then I already told Elaine everything was fine, and now I can't tell her it's not. So they always do that check in the rearview mirror. It's rare that you don't catch a client doing that when they just got their hair done. I've seen it so many times that it should be like a blooper reel on Reels on Instagram. Just that like check up in the mirror to make sure that all is good. So when I moved, well, first I had that salon, the lighting was amazing. And the most important thing that he did for me was not only replacing those full spectrum lights above, he explained to me that when you have overhead lighting, which most of us have, like some kind of track lighting or fluorescent lighting or a ceiling fan with a light, we tend to decorate because of what we like to see, what we like aesthetically, what's the decoration value of it. We're not looking at the psychological ramifications of lighting in our workspace, right? We're hairdressers. We didn't do a thesis on the psychological ramifications, nor do we have a background in lighting. So the most important thing that he added was when I expanded into that other area, it had been a garage So you can imagine lighting in a garage is like one hanging scary light in the middle, dangling on a cord with no fixture, and it was just like a cement, damp, cold garage, and I had to warm it up and turn it into part of my space. So I did everything overhead because naturally that's what you tend to do. You don't see many lamps in salons, and it wouldn't be good if you did. So I did everything overhead, and then I had mirrors on the wall, and I had custom stations beside the mirror. So when a client was looking at themselves in the mirror, everything here was, you had this overhead light, and then everything was dark here. So they had dark circles. They could see any kind of discoloration in their skin. They felt like they were dead. And if I had $1 for every client that sat in my chair and said, "Oh my God, I thought I was having a good day until I sat here, like, oh my gosh, I need a facial, or I need a tan, or I need a vacation," whatever. I was hearing it over and over and over again. So that's when I went to see Lou and I said, I can't have this. Like, these women are feeling like crap in my space. That's not good. He made sure that we put light bulbs on the side of the mirrors vertically this way, so that on the side of the mirrors on the wall, that light is shining forward onto that client. And it was a very soft lighting. It was not fluorescent. It was not harsh. It was very soft. And my husband was telling me it's 2,700K, whatever that means. I said, what kind of light bulbs? Because they're going to ask me. So the higher the number, like 2,700K is what we have now. The higher the number, the whiter and the bluer and the more harsh they're going to be. So you need that balance. But talk to a lighting expert. Don't go by me. So those, just putting those lights this way made a huge difference. So then fast forward, I open a second location. I want Lou to be my man to do my lighting. I go back to the same exact place. This is 15 years later. And of course, Lou is no longer there. I don't know if he's still with us, if he's no longer there because he's no longer here on Earth, or he just left the place, but I could not find Lou. So I had this young, wet behind the ears, 20-something kid, and he's like, oh, I can help you with your lighting. It was never the same. My lighting at the new salon doesn't even compare to the lighting at the former salon, but I did the best that I could. So I was obsessed with these stations. If you've ever seen a picture of my salon, I'm so proud of what we did in there. It was so forward thinking at the time because, we did it. Oh my God, we're probably 28 years in that location. No, I don't know, at least 25, no, 22 years, something like that in the new location. So I am a pack rat. I like keep a lot of things and I have a lot of clutter in my bedroom. And I knew if I had a type of station that could be cluttered and could have a lot of things on top of it, like my former salon, it would drive me crazy. And I was like, how can I build a station and have everything at the ready for the person doing hair, but they could not possibly clutter it because everything's hidden. So I sketched out these stations that hang from the ceiling. There's these big chrome pipes that come down, and then picture like a mirror on one side, a mirror on the other, and like a whole box behind in between the mirrors. So everything is this way behind the mirror. So they can have 52 cans of hairspray, 36 brushes, whatever they have is all behind that mirror. And then there's 2 drawers that have combs, scissors, all that. So there's no Beanie Babies on their station. There's no 50 million pictures of their dog and their kids. Like, I didn't want any of that. I wanted the visit to be all about the guest, all about feeling really good and beautiful and not looking at any clutter or any mess. So because I had that great idea of these beautiful custom stations, about that lighting coming forward, and I didn't factor that in. So now if I want to add that later, after these were already done, we tried through those big pipes that are so secure in the ceiling. It's ridiculous. They're like in the foundation at this point. And everybody that looked at the job was like, is this really necessary? Because this is going to be like a lot of money. And forgo that. So I had to get around it and change the overhead lighting and the bulbs to really make up for that, look in here. And I still, when I sit down, I'm like, oh, where's Lou? I wish I had Lou back. So I'm sure, let me check in with the comments because I'm sure everyone has the same issue. Lynn said, would love to see pictures. Are you talking about my stations? Sure, I will go through and find, if you go on the website, luxcolorlounge.com, I think there's a video that shows you the salon, so you'll get to see them there, and it's more fun because you'll see the whole salon. We're rebels. We do everything different. So I always consider myself, there's a book from, I think it's Seth Godin wrote it. Is it Seth? No. I don't know. It's called The Purple Cow. So see who writes The Purple Cow. I think I recommend it in my book, actually, in recommended reading. Yeah, it is Seth Godin. Well, look at that. I pulled that one out of my ass. The Purple Cow by Seth Godin talks about being like the outlier, being different. You know, all salons from the history of mankind were open Tuesday through Saturday. Saturday was the shorter day. Tuesday through Friday were longer days. Friday night was the big popular night and was always busy. And then when we open salons, we do exactly what the salon that we worked for before us did. And we open Tuesday through Saturday, and we have the same exact hours, and we do everything the same. And I was like, why are we doing this? Just because it's always been done. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to work Saturdays anymore. So 17 years ago, I said, why are we doing this? I don't want to be here. I want to be with my kids. My young staff doesn't want to be here because they want to go out and drink on Friday night and dance and have fun, and they don't want to be tired and hungover. The older staff that have little kids didn't want to be there because they wanted to be with their kids. So nobody wanted to be there. And then we did a poll to our clients and we said, do you even want to be here? And every one of them said, not really. We're here because you're not open late enough during the week for us to get here after our kids are done homework and dinner and all of those things. So we have to come on Saturday because you're not open on Sunday, was the answer. So I was like, okay, well, nobody wants to be here, so let's not be here. So we opened Mondays, and we made Monday a full 8-hour day. Saturdays kept getting shorter and shorter and shorter because people were asking to leave early, to go to weddings, to go to christenings, to go to baby showers, to go to all the things that happen on a Saturday afternoon. Staff kept putting in for, can I leave, can I leave, can I leave? And I'm like, this is crazy. We're having 50% production on a day that nobody wants to be here. Monday, everybody's like going out shopping at the mall because nobody's there. And they're like, this is great being off Mondays because everybody else is at work. And I was just like, no, let's just flip it and let's all have our weekends free. And it was the best thing I ever did. So then it gets exciting. You're like, what else can I turn on its head? So we did the departmentalization. We said, you know what? Not everybody wants to do everything. So if you love to cut and do relaxers and perms and all that, do that. If you love to color, do that. And then form a relationship with someone in the salon where I do the color, she does the cut. She does the relaxer, I do the color. Back and forth. That worked. We were the only ones in our area. There was only 2 other salons in our entire area, 20 years ago that did that. So we were the Purple Cow then. And people started to come to us because we were different, because they said, I don't go to a gynecologist when I have something wrong with my toe. It makes perfect sense that if someone specializes in something, they're putting all of their education and passion into one thing, and they're doing it really, really well. So if I haven't had luck with other hairdressers getting color done, why wouldn't I go to that color specialty salon? So it worked. So fast forward to my latest remodel. At 25 years in the salon ownership, my original brand was Splash Hair Studio. I opened my salon, as I said, in 1989. I was 22 years old. Splash Hair Studio was my brand. It was very pink and blue and 80s and just these splashes of color all over everything. And I had white sweatshirts with big pink and blue splashes. So when I remodeled, when Lou came into my life and I remodeled, that Italian faux finish, columns, Colosseum kind of look was coming into to trend, and I changed it. And then I was like, this splash and this Roman thing is not going well. So I kept changing the logo. Open the second location, change the logo again. Now I'm into feng shui. Everything was Asian inspired. Splash, Asian, didn't go. It was driving me crazy. I'm like, I just can't get this branding thing right. That's why even in the Hair Color Secrets Insider membership, I go into branding in the very beginning of the membership, because as you can see, it took me 20 years to understand that my brand was not fitting my product, and it can be really a deal breaker. So I changed the brand again, same name, Splash Hair Studio, but it was red and gold, and everything was like, I had a feng shui expert come in, and she told me where to put the clock and not have water here, and this is bad juju, and don't let your toilet run, and all these things. So I was all into that. And then I love Oprah. You either love her or hate her. I love her. Oprah just stopped her show right at, I think hers was 25 years. And she was like, this isn't me anymore. This isn't who I want to be. I want to do something different. And I don't want to wait until, how many TV series have you watched? And it's like season 8. And you're like, they probably should have wrapped it up at 5. Like there's nothing left. And it's starting to make me hate the show, where I would have loved it if it ended, like Friends ended on a high note. Everybody still quotes Friends. Everybody still watches the reruns because they knew when it was time to pull the plug. So when I got to 25 years, I was scratching an itch that I now realize is this, that I wanted to teach. I wanted to get out totally of being in the salon ownership role, but I didn't know that. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do an Oprah. Like this branding thing has been driving me crazy. We are so not Splash anymore, but we're busy. We have a full clientele. We're all 6-figure stylists. We're all busy. Everybody's happy. Why the hell would I take the pin out of a hand grenade and roll it in and blow everything up? Because I'm the purple cow, and that's what I had to do. So totally rebrand it, change the name. It made my mom crazy. She still calls it Splash. Every time she goes, oh, I got to call Splash to make my appointment. She refuses to call it Lux. So we rebranded, we changed it. Nothing bad happened. Everything was wonderful. We love the new decor. We love the new branding. It's never too late is the moral of the story. So why I started telling this, ADD, is Purple Cow did away with the front desk. The front desk bothered me more than the clutter on the top of the station. The front desk has become such a negative culture suck area for me anyway. I'm not saying that happens for everybody, but there would be the front desk role person, whatever you call them, front coordinator, receptionist, whatever you call them. They're not a hairdresser. They're sitting at the desk and they're trying to do their job. Everyone who's a service provider whose paycheck depends on being busy wants to be buddy-buddy with the girl at the desk. So they're constantly up there leaning over the desk, chit-chatting about their weekend, trying to be friendly because they know if Susie Q behind the desk likes them, that if a new client calls, they're going to give them to the person who's schmoozing them, right? I mean, that's the tale as old as time. So once another staff member realizes that Jill is schmoozing Susie and she's all of a sudden getting all these clients, now Mary wants to get up there and schmooze her too. So now everybody's around the desk like this when there's a break in the day. I created those hairstylist inspiration decks for last year's revival for this reason. I'm like, stop gathering around the desk and either bitching about your last client, bitching about the one that's late, bitching about the one that stood you up, bitching about the one that canceled at the last minute, or bitching about the holes in your book, and sit down and learn something. Pull that deck of cards out. There's marketing ideas. There's fun quotes that make you feel good. There's tips on hair color. There's tips on other things. But spend that time educating yourself so that you don't have other holes in the book instead of standing around the front desk. But the bigger issue was a brand new client walks in and she walks into 3 asses across the desk, everybody cluttered like this, and she's instantly like, oh, is that a line for people to check in? Like she's instantly put off. And that's her first impression, is everybody's butts across the desk laughing. And then what happens? All 3 butts, as soon as you hear the door open, they all spin around and look at that person that came in because they're looking to see if it's their guest. How many people can relate? I want to hear from you. Who's relating to this right now? Because I went through this from my first job at a mall, at a corporate, huge upscale salon. It happened there. It happened in my small salon that, Lou did the bang and lighting for. It happened there. Then it was happening at this new location. And no matter how I situated the desk, no matter how many newsletters I put out to the staff saying, if I see somebody hanging at the front desk, I'm going to send you home for the day. Like it got to the point where I was becoming the principal of the school and I had to give out demerits for hanging at the desk. Because what's happening is You don't realize you're keeping that front desk coordinator from doing her job, and she's not making confirmation phone calls. She's not calling people to look ahead in the book and see that you have an opening and trying to fill it. She can't do her job, because trust me, she loves gossiping with you. She loves talking to everybody around the desk. That's the reason that she signed up for the job, is because she loves talking to hairdressers and she loves being in that space. But everybody loses in that model. Everybody. You know, the client doesn't get her reminder. The client doesn't get the phone answered and get the appointment that she needs, and she may go elsewhere because she couldn't get you on the second ring. The staff member loses because now she has that opening, and now she's going to grab her purse and go to Marshall's and spend $100 she doesn't have because she's so pissed that she has an opening. So Purple Cow said, you know what? Remodel, new name, new decor. We're going to make this feel like somebody's living room. We're going to make it so comfortable here that these clients want to stay for 14 services. They never want to leave. So when you walk in the front door, and I encourage you to go on the website and watch the video. When you walk in the front door, it looks like a little bar in somebody's living room, and it's, you know, espresso machine and wine and a little mini refrigerator that they can help themselves. There's a beautiful sofa, you know, some photographs on the wall, beautiful open window where they can see outside, no desk. And at first when we rebranded, people would walk in and they'd go, did I come in the wrong door? Did I come in the back or something? Because they were so put off by like, where's the desk? But once they got past that and they realized the level of service where nobody was distracted, nobody was gossiping and spinning their heads around like the exorcist when they came in, everybody was where they needed to be and doing what they need to be doing. And it changed everything. And the first question you're going to ask me is, well, where did you put the money and where did you check people out? So thank God for technology. We already have a Salon software that runs on Mac computers only. So we have the big Mac screen. We got like they call it a longboard, like a dining room chest kind of thing. So it's furniture. It's not a reception desk that's curved with somebody behind it. It's just like like a bureau you would find in somebody's bedroom, but it matches the salon. And there's a mirror above it, and you see the Mac computer. And there's one little drawer where any cash, which God knows we don't get any of that anymore, but the rare bird that gives us cash, there is cash in the drawer. And then the credit card machine is on there. Everything's on there. So the person who does that job, the front desk person, also is an assistant. We have a dual role because it's a smaller space. So they shampoo, they sweep the hair, they do the towels and all that, but they also make appointments and check the client out. So here's the good thing. This is another big thing. We turned our ringer off completely on the phone. There is no ringing phone in our salon. That's my fault. I diagnosed myself as mild Asperger's because repetitive sounds like that distract me so much. As you can see, I'm very ADD, so that's just another layer of my ADD. When the phone would ring, and I would see the girl sitting at the desk, talking to a hairdresser, not answering the phone, I would go ballistic. So that drove me crazy. So when I did away with the desk, I still kept hearing the phone ringing, and when people couldn't get to it, I knew the voicemail was going to pick up eventually, but it wasn't picking up fast enough for me to hear that ring and be driven crazy. So I turned off the ringer. So what we do is we have a basement where we eat lunch, we do laundry, all of that. So whoever is doing the desk at any given time will go down the basement, and that's where she'll do her confirmations. She's not in the middle of the salon. Oh, hi, yeah, your appointment, da, 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 da. So that's all part of service. The client doesn't need to hear all of that housekeeping stuff. It's just an annoying thing that takes away from the service. So we have, when the client is still in the chair, cape is still on, we have whoever's doing the front desk do everything for the client. They bring up the total, they do everything, they walk over to the guest and they say, everything is all ready for you. If you want to just give me your card, I can do everything while you're still in the chair. The clients love it because think about how it is now. They have to sit and wait for you a little bit in the waiting room. Then they have to sit when they get to the shampoo area and wait to get shampooed. Then they sit in your chair, you do your thing. Now they're doing this. They're looking at their watch. They got to pick up little Jenny at the school bus, and they're starting to stress. And they know they could be another 15 minutes at the desk making their next appointment, finding that perfect time, getting checked out, getting their shampoo. where if our associate walks up and says, Liz, I'm going to do everything for you right now in the computer. Did you need hairspray? I saw that you bought it 3 months ago. You might be out of it, whatever. It's such a better experience. And there's no front desk bitching. There's no powwow around the desk because there is no desk. So anything that's not working, there's always an outside the box solution. And with technology, like I said, with iPads, we can walk around with the iPad. We put all the formulas in the iPad. We have lookbooks on the iPad where we can, if they say, I'm thinking about going red, we're like, oh, copper, violet, ruby red. What red do you want? I have a whole lookbook here of all these looks. Which one do you want? We're not scrambling with the manufacturer's swatch book and holding it up with all the rings and the swatches are flying out, the dust bunnies. We don't do any of that. So think outside the box. That was a very long-winded answer to lighting, but check out those bulbs that you can get. Like we now have LED lights and ours are 2700K LEDs. It's not as hot. I don't have that French fry feeling. It's not as hot over my head. Clients feel prettier and their hair color looks the same, whether they're in the salon or outside the salon. I just want to check in and see if there's any questions. Somebody said I keep freezing. Am I okay now? Deanna said, if I had a nickel for every time I got a message saying, well, in my bathroom, it doesn't look as good. Yes. And you know what, Deanna, that's a great point. And it's up to us to educate our clients and tell them that. I can't tell you how many times I've saved myself from that argument where I say, it was so nice meeting you when it's their first visit. It was so nice meeting you. I loved doing your hair. I hope you love it as much as I do. Just to let you know, when you get home, your hair is going to look different in your bathroom, in your bedroom. Go by how you look outside. Go outside, look at yourself. I don't know what your lighting is like in your house, but my salon lighting is the closest that we can get to natural sunlight, outdoor light. So I promise you're good to go. And if you have a freak out moment when you look in the mirror, just take your mirror and go outside. And if you still don't like it, call me and I don't get any calls. So just giving them that heads up saves you from that panicked moment that me as a 35-year colorist, I had that moment in that furniture store, even though I know better, because it was a dark bathroom. So I was like, what about this bathroom would make my hair red? But whatever it was happening. And it was, red. It wasn't just like orange-ish or red-ish. It was like I was made a redhead. It freaked me out for a good 10 minutes. But as soon as I got outside, I knew it was going to be okay, and it was. So sorry I was late. Hopefully this helped you. And check out the website. It's luxcolorlounge.com. My daughter's going to be excited. She'll be getting a report that all of a sudden everybody's hitting her website, but it'll be all of you checking out our salon. But I'm really proud of how it looks. It turned out really well. And it was so thought out because I had 25 years to realize what wasn't working for me. So when you know better, you do better. That's always the theme. So thanks for watching. It is not too late to join Hair Color Secrets Insiders. The cart is still open for another few days. I think Friday may be the deadline. My assistant is away, so I have to make sure that she clicks all of her buttons and makes it happen, but it is still available, and we don't do all these great bonuses again until May. So if you've been on the fence and you're like, oh, I don't know, think about how much further you will be by May. If you join now, you'll be so much further in and doing things differently than you did today or yesterday. So I hope that you'll join me, and I will see you next week. Thanks so much.